Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jaden, and I'm going to tell you guys about the top 10 worst books I read in 2024. So the first one was Horror Movie. I really did not like this book. The concept was very interesting, but the way it was executed did not work. I didn't like the main lead. I didn't like their character at all. I thought it was weird, and especially at the end when they go kind of crazy, it just didn't work for me. Like, I had interesting concepts, it just did not work for me. Number 9 was Wolf Gone Wild. Um, the the writing was just really bad in this one. It was really, really, really bad. The dialogue was cringy. The characters were really cringe. They did have some like decent sex scenes. And like when it actually got to the story, it was actually good. But when it didn't, the book was just cringe and the dialogue was cringe, and it was just no. I did not like this book. I have this book still, and I just remember writing all over this book because of how bad it was, and I really, really, really do not like this book. And I know there's more books afterwards, but I'm not touching them with a 10-foot pole just because of how cringy the writing was, the dialogue was, just like how the characters act. It was no. Number 8 is Anyone Who Can Forgive Me Is Dead. I don't remember very much about this book. I know I've rated it pretty low this year. But yeah, I don't think it worked for me. That's what I remember. I don't think the ending worked for me. I think I got confused in the ending. I think the book dragged on, and I just did not like it. Number 7 is Truly Madly Deadly. I read this like the beginning-ish, middle-ish of the year, and this book did not work for me either. The twist did not work out, because there was a similar book that I read later in the year that had like the same, very similar plot points, but worked way better than this book, and this book did not work for me. It was just who done it was just like, seriously, this person. It was just not good. Number 6 was The Senator's Wife. I don't remember very much about this book. I remember I didn't really like how many like POVs there were in this book. There were like 6 or 7 or 8 different POVs, and there shouldn't be 10,000 POVs in a book. Like maybe 3 or 4 at most, but not like 6, 7, 8 POVs. Like, yes, did it help with the story? Yes, but were all those POVs needed? No. It was just really, really not good. Number 5 was World of Krypton, issue 1. It was the illustrations in this comic book that made me hate this book so much. The illustrations just took me out. I couldn't concentrate on the actual story because of how the illustrations were written and done. It just took me out. I couldn't enjoy myself during reading. And like, it was like a 1-issue comic. Like, those I could read in like 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many pages. And I just could not. I couldn't even tell you what the story of that issue was, just because of how awful the illustrations were and how much they took me out. I just could not get through it. I really hated that issue. Number 4 is There's No Way I Die First. I read this book in the beginning of the year, and I still think about this book because it was not good. It was not good. Like, there were so many characters, and yes, it makes sense why there's so many characters, because they're all supposed to get killed off, because it's a murder book. But if you have so many characters and then I don't care about said characters, then why do I care when they get killed off? I don't care. And that's what happened in this book a lot. The protagonist needs her white male crush to be her alibi when this murder spree happens, because nobody's going to believe her because she's an African American. So she needs her white male crush to be with her, to be her alibi, so nobody thinks she's doing this. And then the killer is like an extreme leftist, but then he uses right wing rhetoric, and it's like, why are you saying that? That does not make any sense with the information we were given. Why you're saying that? So it's just, the book is not it's not good. It's not. I did not enjoy myself reading it. I think the only upside to this book was that each chapter started with a movie quote from a horror movie, and I'm like, I like this book based off those horror movie quotes alone. This is why this book doesn't, get like a 1 star, because of the movie quotes. That's really sad. Number 3 was Rogue. I think it's Rogue or Rouge. I don't care. I don't know. This book dragged on from what I remember. It just dragged on. I didn't really care. It was just like big mystery, I think, about beauty. But I don't remember. I just remember what like sort of happened at the end, and there was a lot of Tom Cruise imagery, and this book just dragged on. I didn't care, and it's just not a good book. Number 2 is The Mysterious Case of the Appleton Angels. This is the second book I tried to read from this author, because I didn't like the first book I read from her, and like how her books are written. They're written in like scripts and emails and letters and texting, and so that should be an interesting concept. It should be a great way to tell a story. But for her and for me, I can't get through her books. I can get through the books. I can't deal with her writing. How she tells a story in those books. I can't. I can't do it. I get so confused. I can't get anything. That's what happened with this book. I just couldn't. No. This book was just not good for me. I didn't like it. You would think with those concepts, the way the story is written, it would be an interesting way to tell a story, but it's not an interesting way to tell a story. I get more confused from it, and you shouldn't confuse your author. And this is the second book I read from her, and no, I'm not reading any more books from her just because that one was really bad and I hated it. No, it did not work for me. And then the worst book that I read in 2024 was 5 Bad Deeds. This book I wanted to DNF. I didn't, but I wanted to, just because the plot was bad, the POVs were bad, the whodunit was bad. It just did not work for me. Things were just really confusing. It just was not. I really, really did not like that book. I think I wanted to DNF it a few times. Just dragged on and on and on. And I just did not care. That happened a lot with these books. That happened a lot with the books on this list. That I just stopped caring. I still finished it, but I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about the story, and that's what happened with my number 1. I'm like, I don't care. I want to DNF it. I'm not going to DNF it. But I just hated the story. I hated the book. I hated the characters. I just hate that book. So, yes, those were the 10 worst books I read in 2024. If you want to put down the worst book you read in 2024 in the comments, you can do that down below. Otherwise, I will see you next year. Bye.